Thank you, everybody. I'm an alcoholic. My name's John. We talk about we don't speak from a soapbox or a milk crate, but in Marco's case, we allow him to. Just wanted to let you know. There's 2 lies that I will say tonight. The first one is I will be brief. And the second one is I got one more thing and then I'll end it. So, we have the Lord's Prayer now. I forgot my whole book with everything I had written down that I wanted to talk about. So, it was funny. I walked in the room tonight. I felt like John Wayne. And now that I'm standing here, I feel like Wayne Newton. So I'm dropping stuff. Thank God the kids are here. I won't swear tonight, so that's all right. And the woman too. So, okay. So a vision for you. So maybe it's a vision of hope for us. For a vision of hope, I did some research. I did some reading. Blah blah blah. And Bill wrote this before he was even finished a lot of his work. He had wrote this chapter, and it's kind of like a summary of the 12 steps of what the first 164 and a half pages is really about. And I just I have a few notes left. I just don't want to keep reading it because we just read it. But what I'm going to do is just do an introduction the way the book does it. And then I tell my little bit of vision. And then I'll wrap it up. About 11:30. From most, did I say that out loud? My wife says, do you say everything that's in your head? I says, yeah, I do. Anyways. So welcome everybody. It's good to see my DL friends that have seen over the past year or two, and the guys from the meeting here. And I will say one thing. I'll be a little intimate and let my guard down. I got 36 and 3/4 years of sobriety, quality uninterrupted. And by coming to this group, it's the first time that I felt part of something. So it's taken me that long to feel part of something. So I want to thank the guys for standing in the fire with me. They're doing holding space for me. And because I know it's kind of hard because I'm a little whatever. If you want to know what I am, I'm loving, caring, and kind, to be honest with you. And I hide it with this Brussels and bull crap. So you can't get in, right? So I know what I am. I don't have to do it. But it talks about, for most folks, about drinking was fun and happy, and we did all this stuff, and we had release and care from boredom. When I drank, I was imprisoned. I wasn't released from alcohol. Imprisoned me. There was no release in my life. I was imprisoned by it. And the reason why I say that, because if you change this around and go, for most AA folks, alcoholics means conviviality, companionship, Alcoholics Anonymous, and colorful imagination. So it switched around. That same thing that I saw people that drink got, I got it when I came to AA and stopped drinking. By just coming to Alcoholics Anonymous and doing some of the work. And it says, they talk about when we were drinking and we think, the next time. Intense yearning to enjoy life as we did is heartbreak and obsession that sometimes a miracle of control would enable us to do it. Someday I'm going to get this right. I'm going to be able to just have 22, 14, and a case and an 8-ball and whatever. That's the big lie. I told the guys I was going to tell them the secret today, but I don't think there's enough time. So that is a big lie. And then it says there was always one more attempt and one more failure, right? So we always tried it again and failed. That's the obsession. the obsession. And I looked these words up. So I'll tell you something. I graduated in a big high school class. There was 360 people. I graduated 355. And the 5 behind me I hung out with. So that's why I got to look these words up. I was too busy. So I had belief in a lie, insanity of the first drink. Right? The obsession would lie to me, and I would have that first drink all the time. So for me, when I found out, when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, and in the beginning, I want to switch to the first step for a minute, they says, your body is different than a regular human being. You have something inside that develops alcohol different, and it makes you different from a regular person. The guy that can have 20, 15, and then say, I got to go, the wife's waiting. I didn't have 20 or 15, the wife was waiting, and she's still waiting, I think. You know? Because I have this phenomenon of craving in my body, and it's not my fault. And it was like, are you kidding me? I have an allergy towards alcohol? Now, if you have an allergy towards peanuts, and you eat peanuts, and your throat gets stucky, and your head gets big, you go to the hospital, they shoot you Benadryl. On the way home, you don't go to the guy driving, hey, can we stop and get some more peanuts? Right? But when we drink alcohol, get all beat up or whatever, the next morning, what do? We go back to drinking alcohol. So there's the insanity part of the alcohol, right then and there. Right? So I'm insane when it comes to alcohol. It's not the stupid stuff I did. I'm not an alcoholic because I smashed cars up, wet my pants, threw up on myself. I think it was my throw up. And got arrested and all this stuff. That has nothing to do with it. How many times I've been in jail, burnt the house down, got divorced, lost jobs. I've lost the power of choice and control. I had no choice when I would drink. And once I drank, I had no control on how much I was going to drink. Because to be honest with you, I was restless, irritable, and discontent. And all I did was want to take a drink. Comforted me. You know, maybe she'll be all right. I think I can get along with her, you know. That boss, I just won't listen to him anymore. And where I live, you know, I'll just tell the landlord I'll pay him next week, you know. And I just wanted to be in that, you know, back into my skin. I was never comfortable in my own skin. So I'm now back in my skin. And the problem is this phenomenon of craving was starting off. I'd go in 772 drinks later, 13 countries, 4 universes. I show up back home because I couldn't control what I drank. I had no control on how much I would drink. And I knew that. At 19 years old, I threw my hands up in the air in a barroom and says, okay, God, I'll be a 2-bit Coke dealer and a drunk. Let's get it on. I had surrendered to go to the bitter end. It talks about this. We go to the bitter end. Instead of saying, well, I'll stop. I went to the doctor once and asked him why when I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes, drank a case of beer, and had a gallon of whiskey, my heart hurt. And that's still in my records, so I wouldn't suggest to do that. And he gave me some counsel to go to. Of course, I never went. Because that day I woke up, you know, they talk about it, the 4 horsemen, right? So the guys that drink, the people that don't drink won't know this, but, you know, they talk about terror as being out of control. I had great terror, and that was me being out of control. I was scared to death. I'm a control freak, and every time I drank, I was out of control. I never knew what was going to happen, where I was going to end up. You know, people said, I take the next drink, I'm going to go here. I never knew where the last drink was going to take me, never mind the next drink. I never knew where I was going to end up. And then the bewilderment, drunk again over and over. How many times? I'm drunk again. I'm drunk again. Home, going up the stairs. Drunk again. And the frustration was willpower. Not going to drink today, right, God? And that lasts about 22 minutes. You know, because I didn't know anything else. And then despair. How am I going to get out of this pit, this hole that I've made to myself? So they talk about that. And then it goes into talking about being dry for a little while. Not sober, just dry. The best thing I could, JC, the best thing we do when we're dry is we just drink again. That was the only thing I could come up with when I wasn't drinking. What do we do today, Lo? Let's drink, right? Yesterday we didn't drink, today we will. So they get back into talking. So now I'm I knew I needed to stop at 32. I wasn't one of them that says, oh my God, alcohol's ruining my life, right? I knew alcohol was ruining my life. I had a beautiful house on the water. It was a Frigidaire box, and I had a wing of a dishwasher box behind a dumpster with an ocean view. And we had the pecking order for eating. I ate first, then the seagulls, then the rats. We all got along good. I used to lay in that box and go, why can't a man of my stature get sober on his own? So that's where booze had brought me, to that. So when I got to AA and they started telling me about this disease part, having an allergy, I understood. I wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but I think I will. And because it was very important to me. I thought I was a bad guy. I didn't know I just did bad things. I thought I was a bad guy. In high school, we went out after school, smoked some joints, and was screwing around in the car, and the guy was on the hood of my car, and I jammed on the brakes, and he fell off and broke his neck and died. And his mother came to me and says, John, I need you to come to the funeral, because if I don't forgive you, this town will never forgive you, right? And because I was a hockey star at the time, supposedly. And I said to her, all right, I'll be there. So I got ready, nervous, and on the way to go to the funeral home, I stopped and had a drink. So it never showed up. A year later, my hockey coach got me a shot at getting introduced and trying to get a spot and have somebody look at me for the Olympic hockey team. Just see this guy skate and see if he might have any use for this guy, because we don't. And the day came and the day went. The day came on the way to the rink, a little nervous. I got to skate, I got to perform. Will they like me? I stopped and had a drink. You know what happened? Never tried out. One more. There's millions, but the next one is my friend a couple years later. John, I'm getting married, and I'd love for you to be the best man. I would be honored if you would be the best man. Day came, all buffed up, corsage. I said, I'll be right back. I'm going to have to go get a quick drink because I'm a little nervous. I'm going to have to stand up in the altar. Afraid the lightning would kill me. I had a drink, never showed up. So when I got to AA and found that out, I realized, it wasn't my fault. It's not a moral issue. Alcoholism is not a moral issue. I'm a sick person. And it's not a cop-out. It explained to me why, from the bottom of my heart, I didn't want to do it. The faces that I would see when I would come back. So anyway, so then after that, the horseman, now we come in, and you want to more how we proceed from this point. I just got some key things here when it talks about being in the hospital. And so in 39 was when this finally was written, like just before it was published, the finishing touches on this. And this was Bill's last writing after his 164 pages. He didn't write the other stories in the back of the book. Somebody took somebody's, and then they edited them. So he was trying to wrap this up. How can I tell you what this is? Because this book was meant to be delivered to your home, because there was no AA. And you would sit and go through this and have a spiritual experience and do the work. And that was the idea of the book. And that it was working. So now you get some of these people that have been through the book. And what do? What do we do now? Right? So they started with little groups meeting at different houses. They said it. But we just met at night and we talked about our other problems, they said. And then They says, well, we got to start helping people. So like, I know Bill and here, they used to go to Towns Hospital. Now what we do, Big Book Step Study guys, we just go to AA and find them instead of Towns Hospital. Because there's plenty of sick people in Alcoholics Anonymous that needs to do the work that's laid out in the book, the way that people have done this. Because there was a 75% success rate back when they were doing the work this way. Right? Today's about 8%. Now that's not the people doing the work, but that's what AA says, 8 to 10 to 12. So now we got all this information. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. I don't know, right? The other part is he will show you how to create the fellowship you crave. Now, we've talked about in the book, in the beginning, which a lot of people don't know, they haven't read it. We've talked about the phenomenon of craving, which I suggested. Now he's coming back. This fellowship that I crave, right? So I'm starting to be around people. And the fellowship was the person that I brought through the steps, that they brought through the steps, that they brought through the steps. That is the fellowship that grew up around us, right? And we started to crave that. So now we go back to that beginning, conviviality and colorful imagination. Now it's all coming out, right? It's switching without alcohol. It's switching from being sober. Because now we're aligned with God, right? Because we finally got to God in the 12th step. The thing is yeah. God will constantly disclose more to us, right? In your morning meditation. So here's the thing. Everybody goes, in the morning I read 72 phrases, 18 books, 92 this, and 47 prayers, and 362 thises. It says in the morning in our meditation, we ask, what can we do for the man that still suffers? Calm the frick down, people. Right? I spend 3.5 hours before my coffee, I don't get off my knees till the ambulance guy comes to get me. I don't. It says in our morning meditation, we ask what we can do for the guy that still suffers. Did you hear that? Please. This is where you're going to start not liking me. In case you already haven't, don't worry. If you that don't think so, I'll work on it. So sees that your relationship is right. Right? That's the great fact that it will come to us with that meditation. So, right? So with the 11th step is when we ask and listen. What do you want me to do for the new guy? I'll put a new guy in me. So I ask and then I listen. Now the listening isn't maybe not right there at that moment that you're sitting there having your coffee, but when you're driving down the road and you hear a song on the radio and it says, "Oh, Johnny, go help somebody," somebody cuts me off and thank you, Now I got to be kind, right? So God's telling me all the time, if I'm aware, right? Through awareness comes change. Without awareness, I will never be anybody without awareness. So, kind of a little all over. But I'm amazed by reading this, and I'll tell you, it's okay. So I come to AA, I get sober. My first 16 years of sobriety, I did no work at all. My first meeting I went to, they said, ask God to remove the obsession. I went home, asked God to remove the obsession. I haven't drank since. The obsession was removed. The reason why I can tell you it was removed, because I haven't drank. Because anytime I am obsessed with something, I do it, as you can see by my size. So that's, I know that. But I did no other work other than just didn't drink, and I went to 4 meetings a day, every 4 hours almost, because that's what I drank. I needed to drink, all right. And at 16 years sober, I had a gun to my head. And in them 16 years of being sober, I had a collection agency. It wasn't the one on the phone. It was the one you went and knocked on the door. I got put out of business because they started a home invasion rule in Massachusetts. You couldn't kick doors in, so that put me out of business. God forbid it wasn't a white person, then you're in real deep crap, right? Then we did vigilante. We were rescuing kids from cults. And then that stopped because the kids would report us. Then we were getting kidnapped and interstate transportation. I was so sick of wearing a mask and couldn't breathe for years, I had to stop that. And this is all why I go to AA and talk about quality and uninterrupted sobriety from the podium. Because that's what I thought it was. Because I wasn't drinking. Then I had a gun to my head. I didn't want to be sober and I didn't want to live. It talks to that. You come to that point where I didn't want to live. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to drink. What do I do? And somebody mentioned the Big Book Step Study. And I went there. The guys used to come from the Cape, and Jack the Marine, Joe the Banker. I think I've seen Jerry before, back in Somerville 20 years ago when I did this work, when I first started. And I went through the work, right? And I went through the work with another guy. Hated him, couldn't stand him. He goes, "Don't you want what I have?" I says, "No." What part of no don't you understand? It's a full sentence, right? We've learned that. I used all my AA lingo, right? No, it's a full sentence. Just bring me through the book, please. Let me find God, and then we're out of here. And he did it. And I'll tell you something, it was funny because I used to tell him, and it wasn't because I was tough, it was because I was afraid. I says, "If this don't work, I'm going to kill you," right? And right at the end, when he knew I was finishing up my right, and he goes, "You can just start calling me from on now." I said, "See, told you." But I went and read and did my readings with him. And driving home, that was beautiful. I called my friend Guy Scary. I said, "I just finished." He says, "Where you going?" I says, "I'm going to the flower shop. I'm going to buy myself 12 roses. That's how good I felt. Right? Then I went to Crescio. Get close to Jesus, a 4-day thing for Jesus. Then I was baptized and confirmed. Then the next week I got arrested for attempted murder because somebody kicked my dog. I choked the guy almost to death. And so, it does work. I'm here. So, scratch the surface. You know, but what I have today is I found, and what the gentleman did is he put my hand in God's hand. So now my hand's in God's hand, right? So I got all this information. Another gun to my head, I hate to tell you, because I had all the information from here up and nothing down in the pain body. All my pain's in here. All my wounding's inside. I'm a broken man. And I went and took care of all that. And it's like, now what? Now what? And that's when I found out the miracle is to help another drunk through this work. And I started doing that. And that's when my work became phenomenal that I did. My work really wasn't that crazy, meaning, but when I saw other people and bringing it through and going through with them and watching, like they say, the light come on and the guys changing their lives. And then, you know, I met a woman, I moved into Somerville, Mass. I started helping guys. Back home, nobody does Big Book Step Study. They just sit in AA and do 30, 90 beans in 3,000 days and whatever they do. And, you know, just don't drink. And it's cool. And I used to go to the meetings. Because, see, my business isn't to be in a Big Book Step Study meeting spreading this message, because you guys already know it. My job is to be out there spreading the message to people that don't know it or are afraid of it, and let them know that we're only half as bad as they think. You know? And that's the important part. So I did that. And I started working with guys. Before we know it, we had Wednesday night we'd have 12 guys in my basement. Monday night we had 12 guys in the basement. My wife would be cooking. They called her Lois because I would beat them up downstairs and then she'd go upstairs. That was Bill Wilson's wife's name, by the way. And she would baby him and say, "Oh, John beat us up tonight." And watch these guys come alive. Come alive. Now I'm working with, I ate shit, crap. Ooh. Good thing you got them earmuffs on, kiddo. I was probably working with 25 to 35 guys a week by reading and getting them studying and then trying to push them off to find people to help them. Because if somebody comes up to me and says, "Can you help me?" I don't say, "Call me in 2 weeks. Let me know when it's available." I says, "Let's go right now." I used to ride around. They used to call me Nutman because I'd have big books, 5 leaf binders and candles in my truck, pens and highlighters in my truck. And after the meeting, I'd bring people right out and start reading. And if they stayed, they stayed. If they didn't, they did not. Plant the seed. I used to thought I had to be responsible for watering it, growing it, nurturing it, franchising it, and whatever. No, plant the seed. And someday, and you know what worked? Because now people come up to me every time I get mad, which is every 7 minutes, that these people aren't doing what I want them to do. Somebody sends me a text. "Hey, thanks. Thanks, buddy." Me? They're thanking me. You know, all I did was be a channel so God could come through me to them, right? But thanks, buddy. You know what a mark. And then I started. I shouldn't say this. It gets out of signal's purpose. But back home, they call me the heroin whisperer because when all these guys were dying, when fentanyl first come out, we'd be sitting in the AA meetings. "Where'd Joey go? He's dead. Where's Charlie? Dead." We were losing one a day at the meetings that I knew personally. And one day I got up and they goes, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to fight this freaking epidemic." And I got with a guy. He didn't understand. He was a house robber. He ransacked and robbed houses. I worked with him for 3 weeks and then gave him the keys to my house. He says, "I'm going on vacation. Take care of my house. Take the car if you need it. Make sure you feed the dog." He thought he was on like a TV show or something. Why is this guy trusting me? You know? But I knew he knew what he was doing because he was doing the work. And he was getting results. And this isn't this 20 miles into the woods, 20 miles out of the woods thing. You can do this work and get better quick. But better meaning know what's happening. You still need a lot of experience, but know what's cooking. Right? So now you got God on your side. Right? You don't have to depend on your sponsor. And now you got God. And that's where I just want to talk one more thing about. It's almost over. I'll give you the definition of almost shortly. So it's about helping another. That's what I want to talk about. I know where it is now. This is the best part, because this is where everybody's going to go, "Oh, yeah, you wrecked it for us." So these men had found something brand new in life. Though they know they must help other alcoholics, right? If they remain sober, that motive became secondary. So when you sit here and go, "I help other people so I stay sober," that's secondary, right? That is secondary. It was transcended by the happiness they found in giving themselves to others. Being of service, maximum service. That's what it's about. It's not for I can stay sober. Even though it tells us that in all the other chapters. But now they're throwing a little corkscrew in. I love this stuff. I love controversy. If there isn't any, I cause it. And the other thing I want to say, it's funny because when AA started, there were the 3 guys, and I got that 4th guy who married Dr. Bob's daughter, who he hated, right? But they brought him in, and then it took him a year and a half to get 7 more. I don't think they were too fired up. a year and a half to get 7 more. But today, you know how many opportunities, and this, I'm going to end it. It's about us approaching the people, not them approaching us and asking us. It's our duty to approach them and see if they need aid. That's what our job is. Not, well, here's my number, call me when you want. No. Get his number and call him. You give me your number, I haunt you till you change your phone. I'll call you just to piss you off. Especially if you say don't call after 9 o'clock. I sit at my house going, well, 10:30. Hey, Charlie. I'm defiant. So anyways, to sum this all up, it's about getting better and then helping somebody else. That is my vision, is to help other people. And with that sober house I had, I saw people flourish. And I was just home to a wedding, and there was 11 of us took a picture that I was sober since 2016 in that sober house. And the reason why I say that isn't to brag, it's because usually we meet at a funeral home. And we got to meet at a wedding and see this celebration and happy kids and people getting, it blows my mind that it can come through me, right? That it will come through me. And now that I have God, I'm all powerful. And God gave me brains. I don't have to ask God every day, what do I do? Should I? He trusts me. So if you don't like me, blame it on him. Thank you.